This Week in a Nutshell, May 2025 edition. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Youssef Akram, and buckle up, because we're about to take a wild, white-knuckle ride through the roller coaster that was the news this week. From the South China Sea nearly becoming the South China Please Just Calm Down Sea, to AI developments that would make Asimov himself spontaneously combust, to Taylor Swift continuing to be, well, Taylor Swift, we've got a lot to unpack. So grab your thinking caps, maybe a stress ball, and let's dive right into the abyss. Alright, let's start with the geopolitical equivalent of your two friends, who just can't seem to stop passive-aggressively fighting over who gets the last slice of pizza. This week, it was China and the Philippines having another tense moment in the South China Sea. Look, I get it, international waters are confusing, but maybe we should consider labeling them like Tupperware so everyone knows what belongs to whom. This time, the US stepped in like the exasperated parent, basically telling China, hey, cut it out, or we're turning this ship around. Analysts are now sweating bullets, wondering if this will finally be the push to get everyone back to the negotiating table before things escalate further, because, that would be bad. On the slightly less terrifying but still important front, inflation in the US took a bit of a breather this week. The numbers came in slightly lower than expected, prompting a collective sigh of relief from everyone except that one guy who's always convinced the economy is about to implode. Wall Street, in its infinite wisdom, responded with the maturity of a golden retriever on a sugar rush, sending tech stocks soaring like a caffeinated eagle. The Fed, meanwhile, is playing it cool, hinting that they might just hold off on another interest rate hike. But let's be honest, predicting the Fed's next move is about as reliable as a weather forecast from a magic 8-ball. This week in the world of technology, things got a little too 2001, a space odyssey for my liking. OpenAI and Google decided to engage in an intellectual arm wrestle, each flexing their considerable AI muscles. OpenAI unveiled GPT 4.5 Turbo, which I can only assume writes Shakespearean sonnets in its sleep, while Google countered with an upgraded Gemini that's all about real-time learning. It's exciting, sure, but it also feels like we're sprinting towards a future where our toasters are judging our taste in bread. The bigger question, though, is who's setting the ethical boundaries in this AI free-for-all? Because right now, it feels a bit like the Wild West out there, except with less tumbleweed and more existential dread. Chapter 4. Speaking of existential dread, the planet decided to send us a not-so-subtle reminder this week that climate change is, in fact, a thing. Wildfires are raging in Alberta, Canada, forcing thousands to evacuate, and a new UN report cheerfully informs us that 2025 is on track to be the hottest year on record. Thanks, UN. We needed another reason to break out the stress ball. It seems El Niño is back with a vengeance, but, honestly, can you blame him? If I were a powerful weather pattern, I'd be pretty pissed off at us too. The pressure is on for governments to get their act together and implement those climate adaptation strategies they've been talking about for decades. The ones that should probably have been implemented yesterday. Chapter 5. Alright, let's cleanse the palate with some good old-fashioned sports drama. Real Madrid pulled off a Champions League miracle this week, staging a comeback so improbable it would make a Hollywood screenwriter blush. They'll now face Manchester City in the final, which has all the makings of a clash for the ages. Meanwhile, in the NBA playoffs, the Celtics and Nuggets are busy proving why they're the teams to beat, steamrolling their opponents with the ruthlessness of a toddler who just discovered they like smashing things. And finally, in the land of entertainment, Taylor Swift continues to reign supreme because of course she does. Her album, The Tortured Poets Department, is shattering streaming records like they're made of, well, delicate poetry. It seems the only thing more insatiable than Taylor Swift's songwriting talent is the internet's thirst for new Taylor Swift music. Meanwhile, on the big screen, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes swung into theaters with a roar, raking in a cool $130 million globally in its opening weekend. I guess you could say, the apes are back, and they brought receipts. And that's your week in review. Let me know in the comments which story stood out to you most. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss next week's recap. I'm Youssef Akram, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay informed, stay curious.